Welcome to KPUT's very own musical theater of the air. Tonight, we bring you a story of greed, redemption, and more greed called Living at the Top, brought to you by the fine people at the Huaidan Asian Bookshop. Just one look at a Huaidan book, and you'll say, Wo xi huan zheng wo shu. Living at the Top was written by Harry Gimson and Barry Schwartz. It stars Blanche Polridge and Molly McDoo. Our musical opens atop the highest high-rise in Minneapolis, which is the penthouse home of millionaire J. Foster Flecknoy, young, handsome, and ruthless to the core. As he rises from his silk sheets, he strolls over to his plate glass window and takes in a view of the city.
The sun is bright, the birds alight, to their homes on my roof where they nest. It's a me kind of day. I feel more than okay. It's the kind of day I love the best. I've made it and I'm happy. The future for me glows. Oh, sure, the climb was crappy, but look how far I rose. You could send your kids to Harvard with what I pay for my clothes, 'cause I'm living at the top. Hey, every day is busy, there's no time to reflect. At work I'm never lazy, all friendships I reject. Everybody owes me and thinks I won't collect, 'cause I'm living at the top. People say that one day I'll stop succeeding, but that's 'cause I'm leading. They're just acting sore. It's not luck or spunk or pluck or crack timing. I'm gonna keep climbing till I bang my head on heaven's floor. Though my income's at this height, my disposition's low, still everything is alright anywhere I go. Had my cake and took a big bite, there's no one telling me no, 'cause I'm in with the winners, I'm on track. Pay for my dinners, pat my back. All you beginners, catch my flack. I'm there at the tip of the summit, the seat at the top.
Suddenly, his butler enters with his breakfast.
Good to see you in such high spirits today, sir. Tell me, will you be wanting the Rolls Royce or the stretch limo to take you to work today?
Neither, Hives. I feel so peppy, I actually want to walk.
Sir, it is 30 below outside.
Ah, the perfect weather to evict people in. This is going to be a great day. I'm definitely going to walk.
As Foster Flecknoy dons his spats and platinum cufflinks, let's shift the scene to a lonely street corner where a young nun, Sister Nancy Angelica of Our Lady of Tiresome Recitation, stands asking for donations to finance a home for battered refugee orphans.
When it snows, I come stand here while the wind keeps me
Stop! Where's Molly? She was supposed to be here by now.
Oh, that's okay. I'll sing her part. Just give me a minute to get the intonation.
Lance, just do me a favor and find Molly, all right?
All right.
In the meantime, listeners, here's a word from our sponsor or something.
Tonight, on the streets of L.A., a buddy cop show that goes beyond real life.
On three, we kick in the door, okay?
Just a minute. Hey, Crooks, we're gonna kick in the door.
Oh, God, why was I ever paired with you?
The Hunk and the Geek. He's the Hunk, he's the Geek. They couldn't like each other less and need each other more.
Thanks for absorbing those bullets, by the way.
Yeah, sure, but how'd you know he wouldn't trip the alarm?
I read the schematic. Any idiot would have known that, except maybe you.
If you didn't know so much about computers, you'd be another dork on the street.
Sure, and you'd be another Sears catalog model. Pass the sardines.
The Hunk and the Geek. They're the most mismatched team on the force.
Men, I want you to bring back the North Side Gang.
No problem, Chief. I'll bust their heads.
And I'll do the paperwork.
Yet they always gave their best, even off duty.
All right, baby. The night belongs to us.
Well, I'm ready. But what about him?
What? How did you get in here?
Oh, you're busy. I'll just wait in the car.
Move over, Jake and the Fat Man. Here comes The Hunk and the Geek. A Stephen Bochco production. Premieres tonight on Fox.
Black schools like Fisk University have made the greatest comeback since Bill Cosby returned to network television. We're going to have the best educated American people in the world, but if we do not succeed, we run the risk of failure. I myself was accepted into Indiana University Law School through a special program for disadvantaged students. This is because I deserve respect for the things I did not do. What a waste it is to lose one's mind, or not to have a mind. I should know. I'm Dan Quayle.
Hello, this is James L. Jones. Please give to the United Negro College Fund, and maybe someday we can put a black man in the White House.
And now it's time for Let's Get Frank, where our radio audience writes in with their problems to let our resident advice expert, old Blue Eyes Sinatra himself, offer words of wisdom.
Whether you like it or not, baby. So sit back, shut up, and swing, as I help you patch up and piece together your rotten little lives.
So let's get Frank for a while, as we listen to our first letter, which comes to us from Neglected in Sheboygan, who writes, "For the past year, my husband and I have lived next to a young woman who's been very good to my son. Unfortunately, she's been too good to him. It started with little gifts, but now she plays games with him, and he even takes all his meals there. I sent my husband to talk with her, but she won him over, and tonight he'll be joining her for dinner. What am I supposed to do? I see my family and my role as a mother crumbling before my very
Obviously,
eyes."
that swinging dame who hangs her stockings to the right of you is dishing out more than just tuna surprise. Although a lady doesn't have to wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice, you might want to try greeting hubby at the door wearing nothing but a bottle of Jack. If that doesn't work, give me her address, and I'll see what me and the boys can do.
Our next letter comes to us from Concerned in Chillicothe. "You know that little piece of plaid plastic on the end of every roll of tape? My friends tell me this is standard, but I'm convinced it's all some sort of plot. We pay for that useless piece, don't we? Where does the money go? My theory is that it goes to the companies who develop pictures. They use the extra money we put down to buy red paint so they can put little dots in the centers of our eyes.
What are
and
you,
haze
some
out the-
kind of nutcase? If you're hanging your tears out to dry over a little thing like that, you're obviously not getting enough of something. Get some dame boozed up and have yourself a trip to the moon on gossamer wings, and I promise, all worry about plaid will fly out the window. If that doesn't work, go see Neglected in Sheboygan's neighbor and see if she can take your mind off of red dots."
After that is a note from Prominent in Kenosha. "As a city alderman, I am disgusted by the lack of respect today's youth has for the older generation. When they're not running over our toes with their skateboards, they're waving their ludicrous and sexually offensive haircuts in our faces. They probably know more about the teenage GI Garbage Pail Joe mutants than about Abe Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson. What has happened to today's children, and what can we do to restore them to decency, or at least make them suffer a little?"
Hey,
The guys
Buster,
that
now hold on here before you go bashing the kids of today. You gotta remember that when I was just a shooting star in Tommy Dorsey's orchestra, they were saying the same things about the Bobby Soxers who used to come backstage after the show and let me dress them up as cowboys and deep-sea divers. And they said I was a bad influence. Wave a bottle of wild turkey to some 13-year-olds coming out of one of them new boys in the band concerts, or whatever the hell they are. And try one on. If they're anything like those kids the Rat Pack and me used to pick up from those mophead, yeah, Beatles concerts, you'll be looking at a hard day's night, and you better believe it, baby. If that doesn't work, I got a bored housewife in Sheboygan I can recommend.
Frank will return after we clear this next part with the censors.
Hey, we don't need to clear nothing, baby. When I bite into a New York peppermint patty, I get the sensation of an Islanders hockey game. And we're winning! Suddenly, the puck flies off the ice and into the crowd. I reach for it and touch this guy's shirt. He dumps beer all over me and I push on his chest. Then the crowd breaks into a brawl, and I get pushed aside by some cop accusing me of starting the riot. Then another guy comes and shoves the puck in my mouth. Only it's not the puck, it's the New York peppermint patty. And it still breaks my jaw. Ow!
New York peppermint patties are made out of spite and contain a concrete filling covered in grimy dirt chocolate and wrapped contemptuously in used silver paper.
When I bite into a New York peppermint patty, I get the sensation of a January morning. It's 10 degrees, and me and 50 others are being evicted by Donald Trump. He's knocking down our low-rent housing to build this high-rise for his friends. Then I get the sensation of sleeping in a box with no blankets and a different street address every day. That's what I get when I bite this damn candy bar. I'll keep eating it, though. It's all I can afford now. Ugh.
New York peppermint patty. Just one bite is all you'll take.
Welcome to the second part of Living at the Top, sponsored by the stout healthy people at the Huaidon Asian Bookshop. As J. Foster Flecknoy exits out the front door of his high-rise, a lonely nun on a nearby corner pleads for donations from the passers-by.
When it snows, I come stand here while the wind keeps me alert, for it blows like a ledger down my front and up my skirt. No one knows what it feels like to be standing here inert with a lost cause while surrounding me. Orange Turks I'd really like to hurt. They run by to their masters like dogs begging for a bone. When they hear me, they run faster as I'm drowned out by the drone of their huge ghetto blasters, and I feel ignored alone. Are you deaf, you rotten bastards? Will I have to get a megaphone? Give a dime, give a dime, give a second or two of your time. Give some hope, yes, give a chance to those in need. Give an arm, give a leg, make the day of some brain-damaged wreck. Will you feel the warmth of giving, or will I have to make you bleed? On these days when I come here with a bucket and a prayer, and I say, ain't it tempting? Get your wallet out and share. My cup stays fully empty, but I'm too enraged to care. As my face turns red, my lips turn blue. It's more than any nun can bear. Give a dime, give a dime, though I couldn't get cash faster through crime. Instead I have pulled my conscience from the shelf. Give a dime, give a damn, please believe me, this isn't a scam. Find that spot of warmth in your heart before I tear it out myself.
Hello, sir. Would you like to contribute to the construction of a home for battered refugee orphans?
Sorry, sister. I don't do lost causes.
Yeah, you and the rest of the stinking world.
Life's got you down, huh? Well, let me tell you. You look smoking in that habit. How's about you and me jump on the next plane to Tahiti together and leave the rats and their race behind?
Look, bud, I didn't enter a convent so that I could have millionaire playboys hitting on me.
What else is there in life? Are we getting into ideals here?
You wouldn't understand. Creep.
Oh, come on. If I gave you $500,000, you'd forget the orphaned refugees' batteries, and you know it.
No way!
Why should I worry about rent or cleaning up after the past?
Blance, what the hell are you doing? Does breaking into a song at this point make any sense?
No, but after all, this is a musical.
After all, Blance, you jumped ahead in your script. You go from page 17 to page 18, see? Nice, simple, numerical order.
I seem to be missing page 18, Craig.
Fine. While you're searching for page 18, I'll play another commercial or something. For those of you listening at home, please don't panic. We may have our act together by, next week.
Sorry, Craig, but there's nothing I can do about a lost page.
Shut up.
17, 19, 23, 28, just 28.
They were the strangest duo on the force until an assailant blew one of them away. Now there's a new team on the streets of LA.
Just a minute. Hey, Crooks, we're coming in.
Not yet, my son. We must first perform the holy ritual. Sanctus Spiritus. Now we waste them.
The Monk and the Geek. A cop show proving two halves do not make a whole.
I never knew you guys rough people up.
I do not condone violence. It is merely a second job.
The Monk and the Geek. The critics said it shouldn't be done, but it was.
heads. Men, I want you to bring back the West Side Gang.
Before we bust heads, I must read sacred works at the monastery.
Boy, and I thought I was reclusive.
The Monk and the Geek. Christian Criminality Today calls it the most innovative show on television.
Let's see you without those robes, you monk.
One moment. Partner!
I know. Wait in the car.
Move over, Father Dowling. Here come the Monk and the Geek, a mid-season replacement beginning Palm Sunday on Fox.
I believe we are on an irreversible trend toward freedom and democracy, but that could change. Perestroika is nothing more than refined Stalinism. I used to read, and I believe anti-satellite weapons would save the U.S. from a Soviet nuclear attack, because they did in Tom Clancy's Red Storm Rising. In the past, we have tried too hard to prevent the making of mistakes. Verbosity leads to unclear, inarticulate things. I should know. I'm Dan Quayle.
Hello, this is classified information. Please support the Secret Service and help keep Vice President Quayle Vice President. New from K-Tox Records, a 5-album collection of the greatest tunes ever to get the fraternity boys in full swing. It's Frat House Rock, a bunch of songs to let you get down so far you'll never get back up. Greek out with the following tasty tunes.
Drinking wine, booty, ooda, drinking wine. Drinking wine, booty, ooda, drinking wine. Drinking wine, booty, ooda, won't you pass that bottle to me?
And who could remember this one?
Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar.
And how about all those times you've lain face down in your own yak, humming as much of this song as you could recall? And what about those mornings you've waked up with this song running through your throbbing skull?
Ooh, my head.
So knock back some of the best in Moose's music. Frat House Rock. Available now from your local the people that call now and the room is spinning and I can't feel my head. Frat House Rock, produced by K-Tox Records in conjunction with Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're fed up with getting sick all over your carpet every night, come to us and get sick all over our linoleum floors. Oh, excuse me. Yes, we're actually back on track and ready to present the third part of Living at the Top, sponsored by the warm, compelling people at the Huidon Asian Bookshop. As you probably remember, J. Foster Flecknoy and Sister Nancy Angelica were on a street corner, debating a point.
I would not give up my life's work, no matter how much cash you flung in my face.
You want to buy a Chinese book, lady?
Go away, I'm having an argument.
Sure you would. All anyone wants is enough cash to keep them fat and happy. And who can blame them?
You're sure you'll know one Chinese book? My book come from Huidon Asian Bookshop, 1 mile east of Nudist Miniature Golf Course.
Shove off! I do not want a Chinese book. And as for you, Mr. Hotshot Millionaire, I wouldn't accept a dime from you if it was baked into a chocolate eclair!
I charge nothing to look at books.
Well, aren't we high and mighty? I can't wait for the day you crumble and come begging to me for spare change.
Give me a heavy book.
Well, which book you want?
Oh!
I charge $10 to read book, $20 to throw book. This week only at Huidon Bookshop.
Get out of here!
Where am I? Who am I?
I think I hit him too hard with that book.
What is this book? A copy of the Holy Upanishads? Of course. I'm a Buddhist monk.
Oh.
But what am I doing with all these material possessions? I better get rid of them fast before the Dalai Lama sees me.
Look, I wasn't thinking when I threw that book. So why don't I just take you home and we can
No, my home is in the palm of Buddha. But if you want to help me out, take my coat.
Oh, no, I can't.
And my watch.
You're really not feeling
and
very
my wallet.
well. So you what?
Thanks a lot. Sorry, I don't have time to meditate on the meaning of all this. I have to catch the next plane to Tibet.
You pay for book now?
I'm going to pay for a lot more than a crummy book. You know, Tahiti doesn't sound so bad after all. With all this cash, I'll go on to take the grand tour of Europe.
Oh, you can buy many books.
Craig, wait a moment, Craig.
Damn it, Blance, what is it now? Did you lose another page?
No, but this musical isn't making any sense, Craig. Why would I consider myself to be a Buddhist after being hit on the head with a book?
It's a musical, Blanche. It doesn't have to make any sense.
But earlier you said that breaking into a song in the middle of a discussion didn't make any sense.
It didn't.
Well, neither does suddenly becoming a monk.
It doesn't, Blanche. Your perception startles me.
Well, how can you allow one and not the other?
Because the director decides when the logic goes and when it stays in a musical.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, to you it probably doesn't, Blanche.
Well, then how can you allow it? That doesn't
Excuse me, can I go get a drink or something while you guys are duking it out?
Oh, sure. Go get a drink. Both of you. Get several. Take all the time you want. And if, by the grace of your hearts, you decide to do a song for us, we'll come right back in, and we'll seat you down on velvet pillows and give you manicures and give you all the imported water you could desire. And maybe we'll even get through a musical. Doesn't that sound like fun, boys and girls?
I'm out of here.
Same here.
No, wait, no.
Coming soon, a TV cop show that goes beyond the unbelievable.
Damn it! Kicking the bleeding dog!
But tell me why that safety pin is in your cheek.
Look, I don't pick on your bloody camel, so leave me face alone. Now kick!
The Punk and the Chic. They couldn't like each other at all.
Come on, dance, babe. This is real music.
Hey! Who's your friend with the tablecloth on his head?
Friend? Hey, get out of me flat!
Okay, I'll wait with my harem in the stretch Cadillac.
The Punk and the Chic. A high-powered concept with a few bugs to be worked out on Fox.
Vice President Dan Quayle on history.
The Holocaust was an obscene period in our nation's history. In this century's history. We all lived in this century. I didn't live in this century.
Vice President Quayle on geography.
Hawaii has always been a very pivotal role in the Pacific. It is in the Pacific. It is part of the United States that is an island that is right here.
Quayle on American Samoans to American Samoans.
You all look like happy campers to me. Happy campers you are, happy campers you have been, and as far as I'm concerned, happy campers you will always be.
In these troubled times, it's important to have a man in the White House at whom we can all laugh. That man is Vice President Dan Quayle.
The preceding announcement was paid for by the Democratic National Committee.
And now we're back with Let's Get Frank, where Mr. Sinatra casts his pearls of wisdom before our radio swine.
And I got two 13-year-old girls in my hotel room, so let's make this fast, baby.
Continuing our program,
Hey, together they're old enough.
we hear from Perplexed in Terre Haute, who writes, "How can I deal with my boss? His decisions are hurting our firm, and while I know he'd listen to any ideas that would help our business, I'm afraid to confront him. If I come on too strong, he might believe that I think he's stupid, which I do, but I don't want him to know. A co-worker suggested slipping him an anonymous note, but I don't think he'd listen to such a cowardly proposal. How weak can I act and still sound forceful?
Now, Shotzi,
without-
I didn't rise to be A #1 top of the heap, A #1 for plucking strings with Ravi Shankar and Beatleland. No siree. So my views on business are worth it. At least in my circles, when somebody gets in the way, whether he be your boss or just some cat who thinks he can shove you little guys around. When this guy gets in the way, he's got to be convinced to take a long vacation to collect his thoughts. Like that L. Ron Hubert guy with that diuretic stuff, like him. Now, how you convince him is your business. Maybe a Valentine's Day telegram or a severed horse head. Whatever gets the job done, capiche?
Here's one from Surreal in Saratoga. Last night, I had a dream where God told me there were violent subliminal messages in my Sing Along with Mitch and His Band tape. I've since played the tape several times, listening closely for subliminal messages and not finding any. Should I look harder? Was my dream a response to subliminal suggestions I'd absorbed from the tape, or am I just mad as a hatter? Frank?
Woody bush, baby. And don't you forget it.
The last is an etiquette question from Quizzical in Queensland. Recently, I paid a Chinese waiter to teach me how to fold napkins in those elaborate, professional ways. I'm having a dinner party next Thursday, and I thought I'd put folded napkins in the center of everyone's plates, but after I tried this at home last night, I decided it looked a little showy. Is it appropriate to put a folded napkin in the center of the plate, or should it just remain by the side?
Remember when my boy Smokey Sammy Davis married that white chick and got into that auto bang-up? That was before that Church of Satan crap. Well, not only did he get a bauble bangle and a bead of a glass eye, but he also got a plate in his head. And before that, his face didn't used to contort when he'd sing Bojangles. Anyway, He always used to wear the folded napkin on top of his head, and then Dino used to give him a 50 to put the napkin on what we'd call Little Sambo and nothing else. And then he'd go to Malcolm X's house in the middle of the night and yell, "Me and the white folks be the chosen people now." And then Sammy'd sing Hava Nagila until Malcolm would come out with a crowbar and chase him for a block and a half. Ah, that's Sammy. Always good for a laugh.
Transcripts of the show are unavailable, but you can find a printed version of Mr. Sinatra's advice in full-page ads of Variety. Listeners interested in writing Mr. Sinatra can send letters.
Hey, don't write me. I'll find you. So until next week, keep your step full of pep and keep your hands off my car.
Hand me that can, Andy. Hey, were you at the Kappa 6 party last night?
No, but I know Ted sure wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, what party did I miss?
Oh, it was a wild party, man. You know what we started with?
What?
A bowl of homemade Jell-O.
Was it spiked?
Like always. God, that stuff is great.
What else went on?
While we drank, we played some crazy games.
Bet you were moving all over the place.
You know it. Hey, then we took our dates outside and we did something really wicked.
In your cars?
Better. On the sidewalks out front.
Whoa! Were the neighbors watching?
God, man, why wasn't I invited? This sounds great.
Ah, Ted, you would have been out of place, man.
But I love Spike Jello.
Spike with high C?
Okay, but you played crazy movement games.
Yeah, backgammon and chess.
So what about the thing on the sidewalk?
Oh, that was fantastic. Instead of driving our dates home at the speed limit, we all walked them back under the streetlights.
Whoa, guys, hey, that's not funny.
Ah, Ted, just because you don't do this stuff doesn't make you a moral authority.
Yeah, lighten up. Hey, maybe you can join us in some straight orange juice.
Unstirred.
Yeah. Hey, don't do it.
Oh, it's just for fun, man.
Hey, you can do a lot of damage when you're sober.
Well, like what?
Yeah.
You might start thinking. Then you'll face responsibilities. And the next thing you know, you'll be a mature adult dealing with reality.
Yeah. Guess that never hit me before.
Me neither. I never wanted to be that alert.
Ted, this may sound stupid, but it's a good thing you're always drunk to remind us when we aren't.
What are friends for?
Yeah.
Him about a wild turkey.
Oh, not before I get it first, man.
Be a friend and end the madness. Sobriety, it's uncool. This message is service of mass. Mothers Against Sober Students.
Welcome back to KPUT's Musical Theater of the Air. For those of you still listening, surprise, surprise.
Come on, Craig, was I that
Don't
awful?
talk to me, Blance. You're not allowed to talk to me, okay? All right?
All right, well, okay, if you say so. I won't talk
I don't want to hear it, Blance.
Sure, fine, okay, I'll just...
There's not much time left, so I'll give you a quick summary of what you would have heard. Foster goes off to Nepal, and there's a song there called Shave My Head, Save My Soul.
I never got that one.
And Nancy goes to Tahiti and has a fling with an 18-year-old boy, and there's a song there too, but I can't remember what it's called.
I've kicked the habit.
Okay, Foster goes to do some missionary work in the French Riviera, where he bumps into Nancy at the roulette table. Nancy says,
Well, I'll be, if it isn't Foster Flecknoy, the millionaire who dropped a one-way ticket to Easy Street right in my lap. I must say, you look sexier than ever with that shaved head. How about you give up the Buddhist spiel and come with me to Aruba?
I have no lust for material possessions. I've escaped the path of life's suffering, and pleasure means nothing to me.
Oh, who's the high and mighty one now, huh? Well, I don't think you'd refuse if I gave you $500,000 to help me spend, would you?
Before this conversation goes any farther, I have to explain some things to you. Your monetary ways put me in a daze, but truth be told, I can't be sold. I've got a soul these days. Well, now, Barracuda, you're hardly a Buddha, and my heart feels I have ideals I have to be true to. Don't get me wrong, you're a nice gal. I'm almost swayed from my intent. You've got a great chest, and your body's the best, but you haven't got enlightenment. Satori is my goal, all other things seem dull. To be at peace with man and beast and know the story full. How can I truly speak of these great things I seek? Not found in stores, they can be yours for just $5 a week. Why should I worry about rent or cleaning up after the pet. Reincarnation will be a sensation. I hope that I never forget. Make mine Buddha, make me holy. Down with Ramtha, God and King Tut. You're no Buddha, take a ruler. Give me Buddha and nothing but.
Okay, I see your point. So I'll give you 600,000 instead.
Well, okay.
Everyone sells when they find the right buyer.
Worship is nice, but you can't be desire.
Who needs nirvana when you can climb higher? Yes, we're living at
Top! Top! You're living to the top! Oh, what's the use?
Today's show, Leave at Top, starring Blanche Porridge and Molly McDowell. Writer Harry Gibson and Barry Schertz. Brought to you by tall, handsome men at Why Dan Asian Bookstore. A half hour after you finish Why Dan book, you want to read more.
KPUT, kput, was written, arranged, produced, rewritten, rearranged, reproduced, and finally given up on by Hector DeJean, Glenn Keenan, and Steve Scholes. Additional voices, Brian McDermott, Angela Mims, Michelle Soner. Additional writing, West Coast writing staff, Pat McRae. Tune in again, another 2 weeks, blah, 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 KPUT. Can I go now?